Hello viewers, welcome to video tutorial on numerical problems on Gauss law, specifically spherical charge distribution we will discuss. I am Dr. P. Ramakrishna, Assistant Professor of Physics, GDC Kamareddy. This concept of numerical problems forms part of chapter Electrostatics in Electromagnetic Theory paper of BSc Physics syllabus. Before discussing the numerical problems on Gauss law, let us have a recap of the things we have learnt in the previous lectures. First one, Gauss law. The statement of Gauss law is given by total normal flux coming out of any closed surface area is equal to 1 by epsilon naught times total charge enclosed within that surface. Mathematically, it can be written as phi E is equal to closed surface integral of E dot ds, which is equal to q by epsilon naught. We are very much aware that epsilon naught is permittivity of free space or vacuum. The another thing which we have learnt in the previous lectures is electric field intensity due to uniform spherical charge distribution. We know that uniform spherical charge distribution is similar to solid sphere of uniform charge distribution. We have encountered three cases, that is within the sphere, on the sphere and outside the sphere. For the first one, outside the sphere, the field intensity is equal to 1 by epsilon naught q by r square. The intensity is inversely proportional to square of the distance of point of observation. And on the surface, it is constant at all the points, which is numerically equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught times q by square of the radius of the distribution or sphere. The another interesting thing is within the sphere, within the distribution, r less than capital R. Here the expression is given by 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught times q times small r by capital R cube, where small r is the distance of point of observation and capital R is the radius of the sphere. Pictorially or graphically, these three equations can be put together shown like this. This is the solid sphere charge distribution, spherical charge distribution with radius r. Now outside the sphere we observe that the field intensity is inversely proportional to r square, but within the sphere it is directly proportional to. Observe that this is a straight line. Within the sphere the variation is straight line, so it is directly proportional to r, distance of point of observation. Now based on these things we will discuss some of the numerical problems. Let us see. First problem is calculate the electric field intensity due to uniformly charged spherical shell of radius r and having total charge q at a point distance r from center. Three cases are given here. In the first case, it is outside the shell. The second case, on the surface of the shell. Third case, within the shell. Notice that This is different from the earlier topic which we have discussed. Here it is given as spherical shell. Now what the difference we notice is, in the case of solid sphere, the matter of the sphere is distributed in the entire volume, whereas in the case of shell it is present only on its surface. If we have a look of this problem, diagrammatically it is shown like this. Let this is the charged spherical shell having charge q as shown in as given in our figure, centered at point O with radius capital R according to our problem. Now depending upon the distances, we have to find out the electric field intensity. Let us take the first case, that is outside the sphere, small r greater than capital R. If it is outside the sphere, let us suppose that this is our point of interest, that is point of observation. Look at the diagram. Let the distance of this point be small r from the center of the shell. In order to find out the electric field intensity, we first construct a Gaussian surface as shown in figure. The Gaussian surface in this case will be sphere enclosing the given charged shell. Now let us find out, let us apply Gauss law in this case. The total electric flux coming out of this shell sphere, Gaussian sphere, will be equal to phi E is equal to closed surface integral of E dot ds. Since E is constant, we write out of integration, then the equation becomes E times closed surface integral of ds. Since this is closed surface integral of sphere, this integration extends over the sphere, we write this as 4 pi square. If we equate it with charge by epsilon naught according to Gauss law, we get the equations E times 4 pi r square is equal to q by epsilon naught. If we rearrange the terms, we will get the expression for field intensity as E is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught times q by r square, which is very much similar in the case of similar to solid sphere. There is no difference. Now let us look the another case, that is second case at r is equal to capital R on the surface. On the surface it will be again repetition of solid sphere. It is equal to E is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught times q by capital R square. The interesting thing we notice in the case of shell is, that is within the shell, r small r less than capital R. Let us again construct the shell. Let this be the shell with charge q centered at O with radius capital R. Let us assume a point within the shell as shown in the figure. If we construct a Gaussian surface, it will be like this. Let the radius of this be small r. Now let us find out the flux coming out of this surface, Gaussian surface, this dotted Gaussian surface. If we observe carefully, since this is a shell, it has no charge within the volume, only charge present on its surface. The charge present within our Gaussian sphere which we have constructed is 0. Since the charge enclosed within the Gaussian sphere is 0, according to Gauss law, we can say that the electrical flux coming out of that surface will be 0. Mathematically, it can be written as phi E is equal to E times 4 pi r square is equal to 0. So from this equation we can write E is equal to 0. Now if we represent these things diagrammatically, it will be like this. Outside the sphere it was similar to earlier case, but within the sphere or shell, if you look, the value of electric field is 0. You can see the highlighting. In the earlier case, it was a straight line within the sphere, a straight line like this, but now it is 0. The value of electric field intensity is 0 within the shell. This is the difference from solid sphere to shell. I hope it is clear. Let us move ahead. Let us look another question. The question is, can a solid conducting sphere hold more charge than a hollow sphere of same radius? Give reason. Let us understand the question clearly. Here two spheres are given. The radii of two spheres is same. What the difference is? The difference is, one is conducting sphere and another one is hollow sphere. Now, can you expect the answer for this? What do you understand from conducting sphere? Yes, the conducting sphere holds the charge only on its surface. So, the flux coming out of these two spheres will be same. We don't find any difference between charge holding from solid conducting sphere to hollow sphere. Though the charge conducting sphere has some volume inside it, by nature it doesn't hold charge within the sphere. It holds only on the surface. Within the sphere, for conducting sphere, there will be no charge. So these two things are same, hollow sphere and conducting sphere. One more thing will be there, that is metallic sphere. Sometimes to confuse, it is mentioned as metallic sphere in the question. Keep it in mind that conducting sphere, hollow sphere and metallic sphere, these three things will act in a similar way. The expressions for these three things will be same. Okay, now let us move on to another problem. A uniformly charged solid spherical insulator has a radius of 0.23 meter. The total charge in the volume is 3.2 picocoulomb. Here P stands for pico, that is equal to 10 to the power of minus 12. Find the electric field intensity at a position of 0.14 meter from the center of the sphere. If we have a look at the problem, we notice that our point of observation lies within the sphere, because the radius of the sphere is given as 0.23 meter and point of observation is given as 0.14 meter. So this point lies within the sphere. Now the next question, whether it is a shell or a conducting sphere or a solid sphere, that we have to notice. Now it is mentioned here that it is an insulator. Insulator means non-conducting. Non-conducting and solid. That means the charge, this 3.2 picocoulomb charge will be uniformly distributed in the entire volume of sphere. Okay, so these two things we have to clarify ourselves. First thing, where is the point of observation, whether it lies outside the sphere, on the sphere, or inside the sphere. From our problem, it is inside the sphere. Next, we have to clarify ourselves whether it is a solid sphere or hollow sphere. Now in this case it is solid non-conducting sphere. So this charge will be uniformly distributed in entire volume of the sphere. So we can use the expression as E is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught times QR by R square. If we substitute the values, it will be the value of 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught is 9 into 10 to the power of 9. Q is given as 3.2 picocoulomb. So 3.2 in times 10 raised to minus 12, and R value is 0.14 and the capital R value is 0.23 meter. Here we have to keep in mind another thing. Sometimes the units are given differently. If the units are given differently, we have to convert the units into same line. Sometimes this may be mentioned as centimeters or some millimeters, something else. So we have to see that all the units are in the same system. Otherwise, we may end up in the wrong answer. So if we compute this value, it will be equal to 0.33 Newton per Coulomb. Now let us see another question. If the radius of the sphere having charge at its center is half, how does the electric flux through the Gaussian surface change? If we look at the question once again, it is said that the sphere is having charge at its center. It is having charge only at its center. Having charge at its center. And its radius is decreased. Now, does it make any change? Yes, it doesn't make. It doesn't make any change because even if we reduce the size, even if we reduce the radius of the sphere, the charge is going to be at the center itself. So the flux coming out of the sphere in either cases will be same. Hence the same flux will be coming out of two spheres. There will be no change in the flux through the Gaussian surface. Next question. Can a charge of 1 coulomb be given to a metallic sphere of radius 1 centimeter? This is a conceptual question. Now what is asking here is, a metallic sphere is there of radius 1 centimeter. Now it is asked, is it possible to give 1 coulomb of charge to such metallic sphere? Now we know that whenever charge is given to metallic sphere, it will hold it only on its surface. So we will apply the expression equation E is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught times Q by capital R square, where R is the radius. Now let us see what happens if we give 1 coulomb of charge to metallic sphere of radius 1 centimeter. Let us substitute these values. If we substitute these values and compute it, we will get the value 9 times 10 power 13 volt per meter. Okay, let us look at this value. It is 9 times 10 raised to 13 volt per meter. For our air present around us, the maximum electric field intensity which it can withhold is 3 times 10 power 6 volt per meter. If more than this electric field intensity is created at any point, then it will ionize the surrounding air and there causes leakage of charge from that point to surroundings. So whenever we try to give charge of 1 coulomb to metallic sphere, once the electric field intensity at that point becomes more than 3 million volt per meter, it will start leaking. So it will not go beyond this value. Since it will not go beyond this value, it is not possible to charge that metallic sphere to this value or 1 coulomb. Hence, it is not possible to charge a metallic sphere of radius 1 centimeter to 1 coulomb. Let us see another problem. Two charges of magnitude minus 2q and plus q. Here q is some abstract value, some units, okay, maybe coulomb, whatever we can assume. Minus 2q and plus q are located at point a comma 0 and 4a comma 0 respectively. That means minus 2q is present at a comma 0 and plus q is present at 4a comma 0. So from these 2 points we can make a sense that these two charges are present only on x-axis. They are not in the plane, they are present on x-axis. First one is at a distance of a and second one is at a distance of 4a. Now the question is, what is the electric flux due to these charges through a sphere of radius 3a with its center at the origin? So first of all, it may look complicated. If you read the problem, it may appear complicated, but it's very simple if we draw figure for this. Keep it in mind that minus 2q is lying at a comma 0, plus q is lying at 4a comma 0, and we have to construct a sphere with radius 3a. So it will be like this. Now it is asking how much flux is coming through this sphere. Once we draw the figure, the question becomes very easy. From the figure, it can be seen that only minus 2q is lying within the sphere. This plus q is outside the sphere. So we don't see any flux contribution from this plus q. Only the flux contribution comes from minus 2q charge. Since this is minus 2q, the field lines will flow into the sphere. So we notice that the flux will be inwards. Flux will be coming into the sphere. So the flux, the numerical value, magnitude of flux is given by 2q by epsilon naught. This is magnitude. Here since it is minus 2q, the flux will be inwards. It should be understood that the flux is inwards. By looking at the problem, by reading the problem, it may appear somewhat difficult, but if you draw the figure, it is very simple. Similarly, let us look at another problem. Consider two concentric spheres S1, S2 enclosing charges 2q and 4q respectively as shown in figure. This is the figure. Okay. Here it is not mentioned about how this 4q is lying. We should understand that this 4q is lying in between these two spheres. So don't get confused that this is the 4q is not the total charge inside S2. Okay, that is the tricky question. Now the question is, find out the ratio of electric flux through them. We have to find out the electric flux ratio. Phi 1 from this inner sphere, phi 2 from this outer sphere. Okay. Phi S1 by phi S2 we need to find out. Second one, how will the electric flux through the spheres S1 change if a medium of dielectric constant epsilon r is introduced inside S1? And the second question, it is saying that instead of air, if we put a medium of dielectric constant epsilon r within this inner sphere S1, now how will be the flux? Is it going to change? Let us see. First one, according to Gauss theorem, we can say that flux, since epsilon naught is constant, flux is directly proportional to total charge present. So in the case of first sphere S1, the total charge is 2q only, but in the case of second sphere it is 2q plus 4q. So the ratio is given as 2q by 2q plus 4q, that is 2q by 6q, which is equal to 1 by 3. So the answer for the first question is 1 by 3. Problem appears to be very big and complicated, but if we look at the figure clearly, it is very simple. Now in the second case, in the first case, the medium within the sphere is air. If we replace air by any other medium, in this formula we will get another quantity, that is epsilon r in the denominator. Now phi will change on introduction of any dielectric medium within the sphere. Flux will reduce depending upon the value of dielectric constant. If it is less than 1, flux will increase. If it is greater than 1, flux will decrease. So in the case of second question, the resultant flux will be phi S1 is equal to summation of q by epsilon naught times epsilon r. Here epsilon r is the dielectric constant. Since the total charge within S1 is 2q, the expression becomes 2q by epsilon naught times epsilon r. Now these are the possible question, some of the possible questions. You can try few other question on the same lines. These are the questions for assignment, you can try. Second and third quantities are same, only the difference is second question. In the case of second question, it is spherical shell. In the case of third question, it is non-conducting uniform sphere, that is solid sphere. So with this we will end the tutorial. Thank you for watching the tutorial. Keep watching tutorials.